Were you able to work on the assignment I gave?
The one with regarding the bank.
Yeah, the one regarding the bank, and then the question I asked you to complete. That is the class that asks you concerning the circle. The code was already there just for you to put all together and run it. That's what I wanted you to do in that one.
Okay.
So were you able to do that? The one is the circle, and then the other is the bank, the extension that I wanted you to add.
Yeah, the banking one, I'm on it. Like the circle one, I put. Okay, that one I haven't touched it yet, but I'll do it.
Oh,
Please, there are different you see, when you go to the assignment submission page, you get it. There are three assignments we have to submit. So is it the first assignment you gave was like functions in class? So are they combined as one?
No, they are not combined as one. The first assignment was different assignment I gave you.
Yeah, that
Okay.
one I remember. That was what you see, when you go to the assignment submission page, there are three assignments there. We have assignment one, two, and three.
Yeah. The one is the what we did when we started with the class. Then I asked you to come up with your own idea, or if you still want to use the one that I've given you, that is fine. But I
Yeah.
want you to do it. So if you to get that you've gotten the understanding of what I was doing,
Okay.
then that's the first one. And then the second one is the banking.
Yeah.
Okay, so I said you should do extension of the banking, like add on application on the banking platform. Okay, that is
Yep.
the second assignment. And the third is the class, the circle.
Ah, all right. Okay.
Okay. So Kwame, were you able to complete yours?
Please, I was able to complete, so I've actually submitted it back. I didn't know the third one was about a circle. I thought you said we should create a class on our own, like a different class, not relating to whatever, like in the notes or something. So I didn't know it was a circle or something. I just created a class, my own class.
Oh, okay, 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 no problem. I think starting is the most important thing. Okay, so
Okay.
let's continue. So I'll share my screen with you. Uh, Please, what we'll be doing today, um, you will see a little bit of technicality involved. So, if there's something that is bothering you, can you pay my attention to that? Okay. The focus is for you to really understand the concepts so that you can do something on your own, not to rush you. So, I'm going to rush you, but my course is at least by the time we are done with the series, you'll be good in Python. That is my focus. If in case I'm doing something and you don't pay attention, I'm ever ready to go over with you. Even if you happen, I need to meet you and others aside the numbers, I'm prepared to do that. So please, if there is something you don't kindly draw my attention. Okay. Okay. So with regard to what we were I think the assignment gave was this, right? So this is the circle one. So as you can see, with the circle one, it goes on the so this is the beginning of the circle one. So if you read it carefully, you will understand what exactly the whole thing is all about. Okay. And so before we continue, I don't want us to waste time. So I could go over with the banking one, the extension that I've done to it. If you can still add another extension to it, as you already know, when it comes to banking software, it's always you are adding functionalities. So what I'm going to show you, I prefer to get it. You should be able to add maybe investment or maybe something to the whole banking platform. Okay, so the flexibility is what I'm looking at. So once you understand, always you could add new functionality to that. So last time, what we did, I did show you about the banking system. This is what I showed to you, right? I believe if you've gotten that. Okay, so I went through with you, and then we saw how we will create a class for the banking, and then we were able to get the attributes. Okay, but then we also created a counter. Okay, attribute counter to keep track of all the accounts that we are going to create. Okay, so that is the counter aspect. And then we have our init function to be able to take the initialization process to the main class, so that every attribute that we are going to provide here will be assigned to the main class. So as you can see here, we've assigned this one, that is account holder, to the main class, and then we created the private attributes for the account balance. And I said when we want to do that, we add the underscore underscore. So as you can see here, underscore underscore balance to give us the private kind of a variable there to this. So this is what we actually did for that class. So this is what we actually did. Okay, so you can see that I have all these ones here. Okay, so you can see the deposit, the withdrawal, the get balance, and then you could see everything. And I said we can use some functions like the strings, the deletes, and all these ones are used for the string function. We use that one to print. Okay, so instead of you doing the normal print, you need to call and then you print. But when you declare a string like this and then you call a variable here, it's going to do that for you without declaring anything. Okay, so that makes the whole thing different. So as you can see here, we'll be able to do all these things easily. Now, with regard to adding functionality to everything, I'm seeing that you can have a subclass. So you can see that this is the mother class, okay, called bank account. So we can have a subclass. Then you can see here, a mother class, there's nothing like open and close square brackets. Okay, so with the note that I gave you, I told you that when you see this, if maybe you are going to have a mother, a subclass, that's where you have open and close square brackets. Like if I can visit what I did. So if I come here, if I get here, you can see that I added a file here called this the file that I added. So when you open this file, you can see that extra class information. So here I was explaining the structure and everything to you. You saw those information here. you can see the structure of, and then you can see all this information down, which we've gone through all of them. Okay, and then you can see the banking platform, everything that we did here, which I gave you, and I wanted you to come up with your own kind of class. Okay, in addition to that. But all that I'm saying is that if I'm going to um, a subclass, okay, so that I have a parent class, and then outside the parent class, I'm going to have a child, okay, under the parent class. So what we do is that the child class will be having open and close square bracket in front. Then the inheriting, what is the inheriting? Inheriting from the parent class. So then you have your parent class in there. In that case, it has access to all the properties of that parent class. So you don't need to create it again for it. Okay. So that is basically what it means. So now when we come here, I've just demonstrated that for you. Okay. So you could see I have this. This is the class called banking. So now I have a banking class, and with the banking class here, you can see here account, which is for a counter here that we just created here as attribute to keep track of all the accounts. Then we have our init, that is initialization process. So we have our help, and then what are some of the attributes that we want to? So account holder name, the initial balance. So we give initial balance, the default is 0. If you did not assign any value, it keep the initial value. Then from here we have to account holder name. So we need to assign the account holder name to our main class. So that's where we do self.account holder. So that means that we've assigned it to the main class. Then we come here, but at this point we want to create a private instance attribute for the account balance. So we add what? Underscore underscore. Okay, so in that case, that will be initial balance, which will be underscore underscore this. Okay, and we have at this point, because we've created a counter here, we need to keep the counter in a loop. So what we have to do at this point is to just add what? 1 to the counter value, so that anytime we create a new account, it add 1 to it to keep the counting process. And then we can print the counter. So you can see the account created for the account name with the account balance. Okay, so this is the initial process, what you give into your init function, that is initialization function. Now we went further to create a different method for the account. So the method that we have, one is for deposit. So we deposit, we only thing attribute that we need in deposit amount, so that we can assign a new amount to the deposit. So I have myself an amount, but then we have to check in order not to deposit a negative value or 0. So to do that, we have to use the if condition and say that if amount is greater than 0, then we can now put in this information. So now we can add. So what are we going to say? That we are going to add the amount. So you can see that we say amount will be added to, that is the initial amount. That's what it means. So the initial amount here will be, this one will be added to it. So if it was 0, we are going to add, giving us a new balance here. So now here is going to change when we add a new amount. So now we can say print here and say deposited. So deposited amount, that is the amount that you deposited, and the new balance will be this, which is assigned to the main class. So that will be self dot what? Underscore underscore balance. Okay, else if for instance the amount that you are supposed to deposit is let's say 0 or let's say negative. In that case, this will come and it say that deposit amount must be positive. It means that you can only deposit a positive number, not negative amount. So you can't do that. So this point will, so this is the condition that we'll give it, so that you will not deposit a negative balance into your system. Now we went further to do a withdrawal. So we want to withdraw an amount. So we have withdraw method. So what we are doing here is that first thing we need to check if the amount that you have in your account is not a negative or 0. So you can see here that 0 is greater. Now you can see that 0 is less than amount. Okay. So if 0 is less than amount, and then we see that amount 2 is less or equal to the balance. Okay, so amount can be less or equal to the balance, but amount cannot be greater than the balance. That's what it means. So if you check this condition is true, so if this is true, then it comes to this side, and then what we have to do is that now you can withdraw from your account. So you can say amount and we add the negative here, meaning that we are saying that self dot hyphen underscore balance minus amount. That's what it means. And then we shall assign it back to this, but we don't want to repeat ourselves. So we keep it this way. So now you can start here and say withdraw amount, give the amount that you withdraw, and your new balance will be self dot balance. I hope it's clear. So if, for instance, you did not meet this condition, or let's say the amount that you want to withdraw is maybe bigger than the condition here, so the else will come here, the insufficient fund or invalid amount. Okay, so this is what we went through. Okay, and we can see that we can also get a balance. So for instance, if I want to get a balance, you can just see get balance function here. In that case, you are not going to put any value here, so you can see there's no attribute here. So now we can return self dot what self, because we have the self here, always we can have it here. That is the reason always you keep self in your method. So now you see self dot underscore balance. So that's going to give us our new balance. Okay, but this one is not well structured. So if we want a well structured output, that is where we need to create a string function. So in that case, we don't need to call get method before we get the balance. So the moment you just check your account object, it's going to give you this message. Okay, so you don't need to worry yourself by calling this method again before you get your balance. So to solve that issue, we are using the string function. So string function here is going to help us to. So here, all we are saying that we put in the F formatting string, and by saying that self account holder. So that is going to give us the account holder names, and then we want the account balance, which will be self dot underscore balance, and that will give us the balance. And like I said, we can also reduce or delete our account. So if we are going to delete, then we are going to reduce it. So in case you've deleted an account, we call the delete function here to reduce. So this one is going to decrement the account. So then the message of this will pop up. So that is what we actually went through. Now I said we can add functionality to the whole platform. So what are the functionality that I really want to add? So now I've created a new subclass of saving account. So with a saving account means that I'm purposely doing the saving. And I believe we all know what savings account, some of the features we get from savings account. Who can tell me if I'm going to save my money in the bank, what am I expecting? If, for instance, you want to save your money in the bank, what are you expecting in return from the bank?
Some interest.
with some interest. Okay, so now we are looking at interest. So it means that we need to create an account. That's why when you go to the bank, they have different savings account. They can tell you kiddies savings account. They can tell you premium savings account. Each account has its own kind of interest rate. Okay, so this is how all these things comes about. So they set it separately for that. So now you could see here we have a class called saving account, and then we are inheriting from what our parent bank account, because when you have your bank account and you want to get your savings account, it's going to link to your main bank account. Okay, sometimes if for instance the investment, they can link it to you, so your details are already there, so they don't need to create another details for your savings account, because you're already a customer there. They can just pull everything from that detail. So that's basically what we want to do. So now because you already have your details there and your account there. So if you are going for another savings account, let's say a premium savings account where you can get multiple interest or high yield interest, some account does not incur a savings interest. Example, if I have a dollar account, dollar account doesn't have a savings interest. There's no interest on it because of the exchange rate. So once you open a forex account, there's no way that you are going to get a interest on your forex account. So let's take our first one was a forex account. So definitely with the forex account, you won't receive any interest. So now we have a savings. So a savings where we want to have interest. In that case, we need to first inherit. So what we are doing here, you can see that in it. So this part is what we are now inheriting from our parent class. Okay, so now you create a subclass and say saving account, then you place your mother class that you want to inherit from. So that is the first point. Now when we are done, every class should have init function. So then you define your init function self, and then what are some of the things. So now with yourself, you have account holder, you can have your initial balance, which is zero, then you can have your interest rate. This one you can decide not to have it, but you can still decide to put it there. So once we have all these ones here, so this is what we are expecting the account. At least every account should have account holder name. Then we know that every account should have initial balance, which we are given as zero when you open. And then the interest rate that we said, the default interest rate is what? 0.02. Okay, that's 2%. So we are giving 2% interest for this account. Now we can see here we've introduced another one called super. If you check our notes, you could see this one called super. So now we use this super function here just for us to inherit from our parent class. So now you can say super dot init. Okay, then you can see that at this point what that we are taking here is what account and what initial balance. So now when you go to our main class, we are only picking account holder and initial balance. That's what we are picking from our bank account, okay, because those ones are already there. So now we call this one, so which means that we call a parent class initializer. So a parent class initializer is this. This is a parent class initializer. This image. So now we need to call. So to call this, we use the keyword super to call this. And when we call it, we are only interested in what account holder name and date. That is the property we want to inherit at that point. So now you see here super, then we inherit it. So here you don't need to bring the step. Okay, you don't need to bring the step when you are inheriting. So we have those one that we want to inherit. Okay, it's when we are defining, you're declaring it first, that you need to bring yourself. Okay, so now we just call that part. And then now here, because this one has already been initialized for us, at this point, everything that we have here, we need to initialize it, assign it to the class. That is why we have this one here. That's why we have this one here. If you can see here, we have, after declaring all the property attributes here, now we need to assign to the mother class. So we say that account holder, which is what self.account holder, then initial balance, which is self.balance. This is what we did. So we don't want to repeat this one again. So that is why we've already done this one here. So we only need to call from the initial. So now we can say super.init function and we call this and this. So that is the initialization. Then the new one that we just added was interest rate. So now we can also initialize the interest rate. So we add additional attribute for the interest rate. So here I will see that interest rate will be assigned to interest rate set. Okay, so now I'm done with that. Now we look at some of the methods that we want our savings account to have. So the first one is applying interest to the balance. So we want to apply the interest to our balance. So all that we have to see is that self.getBalance. Then we know that self.getBalance is a method that we have in our main class. I believe you know that. Do you know this?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is self.balance. Self.balance here. Because we are inheriting everything. So you can see in our main class we have get balance. So if I want to call this get balance method, you use the self to call that. So that's why you see here. So what that it return the balance for us. So now when we want to calculate the interest, we can just use self.get balance method, then times our interest rate. So we say self dot what interest rate that we declare here. So this is going to multiply by the interest rate that we will give, okay, and assign it to interest. So now I can now deposit the interest. So we already know that we have our deposit function, method in our main class. So here we are not going to write that one. So you can see deposit. When you come here, you see we have deposit. So now I just call my deposit and then deposit the money there. So this is what we did. So now you come here, then you say self.deposit and you will deposit your interest. So here we've deposited interest into the account. Okay, so now we can print what we've deposited. So you can say we use the formatting string. So you can say apply interest off. So this is the interest that we give. And then we can see that our new balance is that one. We say that self.get balance. That will give us our new balance. Now we want to put everything in the string function. So string function means that once we call our savings, it's going to give us our new balance. Okay, so now we can see that return for F formatting string, then say account holder name, savings account balance, which will give us self.get balance. And then we want to get with interest rate. So with interest rate, so now we want to see the interest rate that we added to the account. So that will be self.interest rate times 100, because you know that we are giving maybe 0.02. So that is going to give us maybe 2%. Okay, so now you could see that it will come like percent to show that the interest rate that you apply to the account is this. That's what it actually means. So now let's look at how everything is working. So if we use the example here, so now we can create our account. So we know that we are creating account objects. So now I will see the account, savings account, and I'll assign to our savings account, and then I'll give the name of the account holder, like Charlie is the account holder. Then I have the amount, which is 200. The interest rate that I'm giving, I'm giving 0.05. So it means that it will override the default interest rate. If, for instance, I did not put any amount here, then it means that it's going to take the default amount. That's what it means. So now I've assigned 0.05. So once 0.05 is assigned, then that is going to take this current interest rate that I've given. So now you could see that depositing money. So if I'm going to deposit money, I will just use my savings account dot deposit. Okay, the one object that I've just created here, and going to deposit 100 Ghana cedi into my account. Now applying interest. So when you apply the interest, you can say savings account dot apply interest. So this is going to call your apply interest method here, and you're going to add the interest rate to you. So if now I see print savings account, so savings account here is going to print the information for my savings account, which you know that it's going to give me this one. So I don't need to just call any method to give me the balance, because I've already declared this. When I call my object directly, it's going to print the information for me. So if I want to try this, I can do ls, and then this is a new one that we just added. Okay, so I can say Python, then what are we saying? Bank with saving dot py. Okay, so now you could see here I have my account created for Charlie with a balance of 200, then 100 deposited. So new balance is what? 300. Then we went again and say it deposited 150. Sorry, 15 cedi. Okay, and the new balance is this, which the deposit that we've just created is the interest. So, but where the sometimes I can say in interest deposited is this, so which makes sense, so that you actually know exactly what this one is. So this is the interest rate. So now the new balance will be what? 15, which is 315. Okay, so now apply interest. So apply interest of, so this is coming from the string. So apply interest of 15, and the new balance is this. So that is what is actually showing here, because we just return the balance. Okay, so that's why this one also came. So now we can see that we call the savings like what we call here. This prints, this one will just give us Charlie. So now you can see that Charlie savings account balance is this, and with interest rate of 5.0, which is like what we just calculated from here. So that's what it came. Okay, so with this, I think it's easy to do everything that we wanted. Then you can see here the account for Charlie Cruise remaining this 0, because we in our function we already have that in our main class. So even though here we did not stated that, you can see here we didn't stated that here, but we already have that in our main class, which delete and reduce the closing balance. So that's what exactly you are seeing down there, because we are inheriting from that. So now it's giving us that message too. So after that, it just close that. So you can see that the account Charlie close, remaining balance. Just for the demonstration purpose. That's why you see this. So I believe with this, you've gotten the understanding of adding functionality to any application by creating another class which can inherit from the main class. Is that clear now?
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
So I believe now you can add the functionality that you want. It could be your investment, or it could be anything. can just add it based on the investment plan that you have. That is going to give the attributes and stuff that we are going to consider. Okay. Now the next assignment we did, we started from here, and all these ones I've already explained it to you. So you understand the classes, the init and all those things. I've done that. And then we came here and I gave you this word. But the continuation is here. So you can see that you started for, so what that I wanted you to do is to run this code. So you create a class of this, and then you continue from here. When like you open it, you can see the continuation. So you continue from here, then you create another class. There's another class again, or class circle 2. So you need to create that one too as well. Okay. So these are the two things that I was expecting you to do. So let's see if we can go through just for you to practice some of the things here, because all this one that you see here is going to play a major role in today's the topic that I'll be treating with you. So that will let you get a proper understanding of what I will be doing today. Okay. So with this, I've already done that for you. So I'm not going to copy these ones and save, but just because I did not use the same name. So for the benefit of doubt, let me still copy the same thing. So you get the understanding of it, because I didn't use the same name. So we are following this code. Enter the following code. So that is the instruction. We are entering this following code. So you come here and then you go down here. Just copy everything here. So you go to now, you already know that we are saving this one here. We are going to have class 1 and then the class 2. So these are the classes that we have. But then the class, the name that we are giving to our program is called testcircle.py. Okay, so this is the name that I'm expecting you to give. So you have here testcircle.py. That is what I'm expecting. So testcircle.py, that should be your file name. So if I come here, I will create a new file here and give the name testcircle.py. So now I have that file here. So I can just go and copy my content and paste them in there. So you just come here and copy this. Okay. So you paste that one here. So for now, you already know how to format our. So when you paste it, it doesn't look good, but you can just do the formatting yourself. So I could just select this and move this one, and then you can do the same thing for this. Okay, that is init function, and then we do the same. So for this, I can just come here. Let me come here and then select all at once and move it. Okay. So once I move this one here, now this actually moves to this. Okay. Then this one also go into this. That's what it means. I just have to create a new space so that I'll leave a little gap between them. So now this one is also expecting to have some condition here. So if we go to the code where we have here, you could see that we have what we call uh, if you come here, you can see that we have what we call this. This is a function that, so in this case, this one is going to go into the condition part of our if. So you can see here, we are supposed to have the if condition. So this one is supposed to go into the if condition at this point. So I'll come here and then selected the if condition here. So you can see that I have all this code here. Okay. So but then I can just select everything from here down. And then when you get there, you just have to arrange everything on your own. I believe for now, you already know how to arrange your code. So you come here and then you paste this. So you can just do the arrangement. So with the condition of this one supposed to come to this line on the same line with this, and then we raise a clause. So it means that when you set a new value and then maybe your value is maybe negative, supposed to raise this information to you. Okay. Then we come here to area. So at this point, all that we needed to do is that we have to make sure that all these methods go inside our class. Okay, so we have this one here, then we can work for individual. Okay, so we come here and then we assign this one to this. So this ends the first one. Okay, now with this next one here, all this one supposed to. Okay, so this is a new class. That is the class circle 2. Okay, so with the circle 2, we have our init function, which of course that start with the beginning of everything. So we have to create that one. Okay, in there, then we assign our value to it. So this will be our init function. Init method. Okay, then we have another one. So this one is for set radius. So now we can set our radius value, and then we come here and then also put this one. That's the condition here. So based on the condition, we can set the value. Okay, so this is supposed to be in there, and then we have the if clause to also come. Okay, and we raise that. So this is how this one's supposed to be. And we have another method called area. Okay, so we look at this method and then this one just calculate the area. So this is how this code will look like. So once we've set our code, so we have the two class, the class circle 1 and then circle 2. So we have the two, which is showing here like this. So once we are done, we can just save our work. Okay, and then we can look at the next point. So now that we've saved the code and try everything, but where do we want to try? So we want to try this code using um, our interpreter. Okay, instead of maybe running everything here. Okay, like I can come here and just say run. I can come here and just say run, but we don't want to do that. So per the instruction, we should use our interpreter to be able to go through that. But then let me take this opportunity to explain certain things here to you. I believe you can see something here. Can you see what is here? I think this is the first time that you are seeing something like that, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we call this a decorator. Okay, so if I place my cursor here, you could see that these are property attributes. Then, but the keyword is called a decorator. So a decorator is already a built-in function that is already there in Python that you want your maybe your function or your method behave in a certain way. Okay, so the way that we want our function to behave, that is the main reason why we created a decorator for it. So here we just want this area that you see here behave in a way that we want that to be. So we've set these properties for that. Okay, so that everything that is within this code will behave in a way that we want it to behave. Okay, so the name for this is what we call what I've just given to you. Who remember what I just said? The name I just mentioned.
The
The
creator.
creator.
What?
The creator.
The creator. Good, the creator. So that is the creator. So Python the creator. When you check it, it has a difference. So now, with the purpose of this class, we've created a decorator to be able to check whatever that we are going to do. So we want to let this whole thing that we see here behave like to read only. So like this method that want here, we want it to have read only functionality, means that you cannot assign any value or whatever. You just need to read whatever information that is here. That is only thing that we want it to do. Okay, so we're giving this one to it so that it can only read, okay, information. So we call this one read functionality. Okay, so a decorator can have a different functionality depending on what exactly that you want to do. Okay, so with the purpose of this class, we want our decorator to behave like um, reading information to us. So it can only read, that is what we want it to do. So if I call this area, it will only read what is there for me. Okay, we can have, so read simply means, another name for read can be get. Okay, so we have get decorator, and then we have set decorator. Okay, so in order not for me to worry myself with set and get decorator, you can just follow with your own by just using the property. So if I use the property, it gives me the functionality of the get decorator. Okay, so get means that read only. So if I want to use that one, it means read only. If I want to do set, then it means that now with that decorator, I can assign a value to that. Okay, so now here we just want it to be get only. So get only can be like a static. Okay, I believe when you say get something, which means that it's not dynamic. The whole thing is not dynamic. You can only read, you cannot modify. Okay, so when you see this decorator, it means that we place this one here on this function, means that you can't modify anything here. It should be as it is, which is static. Okay, so once you just call this one, it just give you what it have here. You can't change anything within this space. That is what we call read. So in that case, you don't want anyone to alter uh, this method that you've created. So you add this property to on it, so that when you see that you cannot change, when, because even if you try, it will not work. Okay, now you see here, so we have set radius. So we have this set radius mean that at this point, this is what dynamic. It means that we can set a new radius value. So I can apply a new radius value here, which will be accepted. And then when you assign it here, now you can print a new value to that. Okay, so these are the functionality, but the most important thing that I want to talk about is the decorator, which means that you added this one because you want this method to serve as read only, or present information only, or maybe get information only, but you cannot set a new information, you cannot change anything from this method. So that is the essence of the property that we have. So now that we have this one, we can now go through our process and try to check how we'll be able to interact with our interpreter. Instead of we writing here, we want to interact with our interpreter. Okay. So I believe all of us, we know how to access our interpreter, right? So if I want to access my interpreter within this terminal, what do I need to do? Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm asking if I want to access my interpreter in this terminal, what do I need to do?
Uh, you code into as in you type Python there.
Yeah, you type Python. That's what I want. So I will just type Python there so that I have access to my interpreter. But we want to use the interpreter. We just don't want to run it. We want to actually understand the whole thing. So I will type Python here. Okay. So now it pull my interpreter for me. So now I don't need to go to PowerShell again because PowerShell is already here within the within Visual Studio Code. So once it's here, we don't need to go to PowerShell again because it's already integrated here. So we can do everything straightforward. Okay. So now I have my interpreter here, which we can interact with it. So what do I need to do? So the first thing that we want to do is to follow what exactly has been said we should. So now when we come here, the first thing is we need to import our test circle. Uh, Now here there's a name that we give to, but because we've not gotten there, I don't want to. So I will just use the name far. I believe that will be fair, right? So I will just import my Python far as TC. Okay, TC means that a short for test circle, so that when you are using it to be simple. Because if I want to type the whole word like test circle, it will be too long here. Okay, so you just have to do this so that you get access to the whole test circle. I believe it's clear.
Yes, yes, please.
Okay. So what I will just see that I have this import TC, and then you place it there in your function. So when you have it, well, already have whatever that we want to do here. So I think I can just go straight forward and do that. So now we've imported that. Okay, so once you imported that, now we can use the TC to call. So this is the TC. So this is the file. So if I want to get access to this, I need to use the file here to call that. So I can say TC dot what dot maybe circle. Okay, so that's going to give me the circle 2. Okay, but I already know that when I get the circle 2, I need to create what? An object of a class before I can use that. I hope that is clear.
Yes, please.
Okay, so
Sorry, can you
look
go
at
over?
me.
Can you go over?
Okay, what I'm saying is that now this line that we have here, import test circle as TC. It's just that we are importing our test circle file. That is the Python file that we've created here. Test circle file Python that we've created here. Okay. So when we, because inside that we will get this whole thing. If for instance I'm already inside this file and I want to use my class, I will just create an object. I can just create an object here by saying that maybe circle, I can say circle one, maybe circle one, two as my object name. Then I'll call the class name, which the class name is maybe circle two. So the class name is circle two. Okay, so you see that I have circle two here, which is my class name. And inside here, you know that the circle two can contain what? Can contain something, can contain one or attributes. Okay, so I can add the attribute, let's say 5 to that. Okay, so this actually give me access to my circle. Okay, I hope it's clear. But then when you are moving outside the main file, if you are not within the main file and you want to access maybe circle 2 class, you need to use the file name. So the file name will be, let's say, import, oh sorry. The file name will be import, so import test circle. Okay, import test circle is the file name. Okay, so now I can say test circle dot. So test circle dot, now I can use that one, the test circle, because that is the file name. I can use it to call the class. So I can use to call class, let's say 2. So that is circle 2, like this. I hope it's clear. So inside of circle 2, maybe you may have a radius, let's say 3. Okay, so this actually is going to call that, but when it came, it's an object. I believe you remember the object. Do you remember? So we've created an object. So in all these things, I need to assign the whole of these things to object and see like what I just did here. It means that I've just created I'll assign it to object. But here I'm dealing it straightforward. So I don't need what the file name. But when you are outside the main file, you need the file name to access the content. Okay, so here I can say what you call my file name is TT or TC. So this is my file name. So here I will use my file name because TT. So in that case, I've assigned everything to TT. So if I call TT, that will give me the object. Okay, it's the same thing to this. I hope it's clear.
Yes.
Yeah. But if we see that this one is too long, you can see that this one is too long, that import test circle. So instead of me saying import test circle, and I see that test circle dot circle, I can just short it and say import test circle as TC. So it means that I just made it too short for me. So now if I come here and say maybe new maybe new TT. So new TT can be my TC that I just did here. I can say TC dot maybe circle 1. So test circle 1. Okay, and then I will give, because circle 1 is also having a radius, so I can apply some radius to that. Okay, that is circle 1. Okay, so now you could see that init here is having the radius, so I can give a radius to that. So if I come here and say maybe 5, and then run this code, so it's circle 1. What name do we have? Let me check. Okay, we have circle 1. So it should be TC dot circle. Circle. TC dot circle 1. So I have my maybe 5 in there. Okay, so now if I come here, so that is what we've created here. So now I'll be able to call my circle 1 using the TC. Okay, so that is the class. So it means that I have the object here. So if I call my net TC, it's going to give me the object. Okay, so that's basically what we are talking about here. So we want to demonstrate this one using our shell here. So look at here we import test circle TC. That is the file, the test circle file, okay, at TC. So now when we have the TC, we can use the TC to call our class. So the class 1 here, and we can put in a radius in there. Okay. Now, when we put a radius here, now we can use that one to call for the area. Okay, so you can see that here we have our area. What is the area for this one? So you can see here, this is the method for the area. So with this method, when I call the area, it's going to calculate this one, because r square is going to give that one to me. So if I come here and I just mention net tt dot area, that is the name that we actually gave to our method, like area, this one that I'm talking about. So when I call this area here, now you can see that it's going to give me with the area of the circle based on the information that I just passed through. I just passed what 5. So you can see that it just gave me out like that. Then we can also set a new value. So if I'm going to set a new value here, we have set new. So set new, that instead of me calling for area, you can call for dot what, set radius. So set radius. Okay, so will we need to put a value here? Hello. Do we need to put a value there?
Yes, please. Or
No, I'm asking you. You have to check. We are calling.
yes, set radius. There needs to be a value.
There need to be a value. So we want to set a new value. But the first one is taken from the class, the one that we just provided to the class. So now we want to change that one. So now you can provide, maybe let's give a radius like 10. Okay. So once you run this one, now we've provided a new radius which is 10. So if you call our new area again, it's going to give us a new value. So if I come here and say net dot area, okay, so which you see that it give us a new value. I hope it's clear.
Yes.
Okay, so this is what that we how to access your class outside your main word far. Okay, so you will see that to access your class far outside your main far and your class and the method outside your main word far. Okay, your class far is to use what import function. So we've learned about the import functions, so how to use the import function, and then we can call different models within our the class far and use it to run our code. So you can see that when we did that, all this information were just coming out. Okay. Now the other part that we have to look at got to do with with the uh, the decorator. Okay. So let's look at the decorator aspect. So when you see our decorator here, you can see that we have area here, and then there's a property on it. Okay, but apart from that, everything here is supposed to be the same, just the difference between this one. And I've already explained the rationale behind using a property. Okay, so I believe for now you already understand why we have a property there like that. Okay, so where you see this is what exactly that we want you to do, just to fill your class and then interact with this. So if you can see, based on the condition that we've given to our files, if you do something contrary to what we set for, it's going to throw an error to you. Okay, so let's look at some of them, how to check that. Now you can see here where we were doing with the part 2, we've set something here that if I want to set a new, let's say a new radius here, and then I've already given something here. I believe you know what this one means. There's a condition. Hello. Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Yeah, can you put a condition? Can you interpret it? What are these line means? The line 19 to 20. What are you doing?
It just means that like if the value is negative, it will give an error. The value must be positive.
The value might be positive. So in that case, you want to check the validity of the value that you are providing. If the value the value that you are providing is a valid information that you are passing through. So maybe you've already set it like you cannot input a negative value. So in that case, it's going to validate that first and check that at this point if the information you are passing through satisfy the check value that you've provided, then it allow you to go through. So you can see the other one, just straightforward. You can just assign it to, and then it go through. In that case, if you provide a negative value, it's still going to take the negative value. So in a kind of try to sort things out and check what exactly you want to pass through. So that's where we have this. So once we provided this here. And now when you pass that information, it's going to check this. So you can see that I did that one with the two. Okay. So what I provided here was import two, which is the test circle. Okay, so I have the test that is the TT. Okay, so if I check my TT and I call the value of this, in that case, it's going to give me the same thing. Okay, so my TT dot this is going to give me that information. I check that if it's the negative or positive, then it showed an error to me. So basically, that is what we have here. So now you can see here that we have CL and then we've imported everything here. So when we come to our circle 2 code, you can see that we've already imported that. Okay, and then we can value here. So if I call the value here, it's going to come like the way you've seen here. Okay, then you can see C2 dot area and going to give the value here. Then if I call print C2 radius, then you could see that it yellows some information to me here. Okay, telling me that hey, you cannot input or maybe attribute error, or you cannot input a negative value. As you can see here, you cannot input a negative value to it. So these are the conditions that we've checked against that, so that we'll be able to mark and see exactly what exactly we are doing. So if somebody wants to input a negative value, the system will be able to detect it and say that you cannot input a negative. The same way, if maybe your system is supposed to only pick numbers, a string. Sorry, your system is supposed to pick only numbers, and someone wants to input a string. You can also put a condition in there so to check that. So in case somebody puts in this, you can say that this is not a value. It only accepts what a number value, not what string. So in that condition can also be there. And then we did a try and catch block. You can also use a try and catch block too. In this space, you can use a try and catch block to take all this, then check all the conditions so that in case eventuality anybody will try to put anything in your system, the system will be able to detect it. Okay. So I believe with this you can work on all the assignment that I gave you. So basically, how the whole thing is working is what we see here. What I just explained to you, how the whole thing is working. Everything is here. Okay, so how does it work? Like the test circle class, the PY, how does it work? Okay, when you go through it, you can see everything. Yeah. So do you understand?
Yes, please.
Mm-hmm. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Yeah, I'm asking, do you understand that, or there's a doubt somewhere that you want us to play?
No.
You do understand?
Yes.
So for now,
Yes.
we already know how to act class. We already know how to create an object for a class. But just that we didn't know how to access an object outside the file, class outside the file. Okay, so that is what I will just did. So if I have my file name and then I want to access the class within that file, and that's where we are learning that we need to use the file name, import function. Then we use for the file name to access it. And we are learning that we can also shortcut the name in case if the name is long. You can shortcut it as this. Then you can use that one to your file name to call the class. So if I have 10 classes, I can use the file name to call the class and create an object for each class. That's what we are saying. Then when you create an object, you can use your object to call each method that you have within that class. I hope it's clear.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So now that leads us to today, what we'll be doing today. Okay. So um, what that we were doing has a name for that. Okay. So if I create all this information, so I have a file that contains about 4 classes. Okay, we call that a model. So now we want to learn about creating modules. Okay, so that's what we want to do. Okay, so how do we actually do that? Okay, so creating a model, and then even if we say what is a model, if I may ask, what is a model? What comes from what we've done so far? Now I've given you the collective name for what we just did that far. Okay, that we have like 2 classes in there, and we're able to say. So the name for that far is called a module. So if I ask you what is a module, what will come in mind from what we just did? Mm.
Um, a Python file that you can import.
A Python file that you can import. Okay, that is fine. That is fine. Yeah, Google. Google, what can you see? Yeah.
Please, you mean
Oh,
me?
can you hear me? Okay, I mean you are Nana. I'm talking about Kweku. Or is it Kwame? Kwame, right?
Yeah, I just spoke. I said a module is like a file that can be imported, a Python file that can be imported.
Oh, okay, that is fine. That is good. Okay, Nana, what about you? What can you see?
Yeah, same idea.
Same idea. Okay, so that's true. So a Python file that can, but what is the Python file we're talking about? We already know. So we can see that a model essentially is a file that contains .py. Okay, but then inside it has it can have a function, it can have classes, it can have a variable. So a model can contain a function. I believe for now we know a function. So any Python file with .py extension, but this time it contains different things within, like a file. Inside that file we have a class. So different classes. We can have functions, different functions. We can have a variable. Okay, so if all these things within one file, that file which is has extension .py, that file is termed as what? A model. I hope it's clear.
Yes.
Okay, so that is a model. So anytime you hear about models, that simply means a file that contains different classes, functions, variable, and then you can access that outside your main program. So it means that I can access it or I can use it in another program. And that is where we call reusable code. So reusable code means that I can write my whole content in one file and then I can access it in another file. So maybe my main program where I will be writing the main function, I will not write all the code. So you will see all my code there. So I'll write it separately somewhere. And then when I open my main project, I will just call that file And then because when I call that file, I've already declared my variable, everything there. So maybe even if I'm giving my way, I can encrypt the file that I've written all my code inside and then send you the one that I just imported. So you won't see all my functions. I hope you get it. So you're
Yes,
not going
please.
to see all the functions. What do we see? The one I'm just importing. I'm just importing this. But when you check my folder, you can see that file has been encrypted. Encrypted means that you can't open. When you open, you see it will be like hash hash or something. But then the computer will definitely understand it. So it means that I'm protecting my work. I don't want anybody to see it, but then everything will work for you. So that is what we call a file, a module. So when you create a module, you can create a module in another file, and then you write all your code, everything, your class, everything, your variable, whatever you want to do, everything is within one file. And you create a main file, a separate file somewhere where you import your content there, and then you can use it to work. So that is basically a function. So as you can see here, so if maybe I've done that, we use the keyword import. So this is the keyword that we use to import a module. So keyword import, keyword, and then it follows by the Python file that you create. So that Python file should have .py extension. So import a module. So there's a different way that we can import a module. The first one, you can see import, then the module name. So in that case, the one that has .py file. So when you are importing, you don't think about the .py because that is just extension that qualifies as a Python file. So you just import that name that you give without the extension. So that is one, import. So now here I import Python. Now there's another way you can import Python again. In that way, that's what we did. You can import Python if maybe the name is very long. So you can't use that long name like that. Okay, so we need to short it. Okay, so to short it, you can use what as alias. As alias means that you give a short name of that name. Okay, so import this model as an alias of this. So that's going to short it for you. Okay. And then another way is if you have the functions and then there are a lot. Okay. If you have the function and there are a lot of them are there. You want to import them one by one. You can also use this one and see that import first module, second module, third module. So because I have a lot of people. Hello, just a minute, okay. Hello.
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 Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Yeah, sorry for that. Okay, so this is where I was explaining to you. So for instance, here, I think for now we've already understand the first two because we've done an example with that. The first two you understood it, right? Now the next one is maybe import a different model. So it means that we have different Python model, like the one we just use. Okay, so we have different modules that we are importing with different name. So that's what we have here. Import module one, like you can see second module, the third module. These are different module with different file contents. Okay, so that is the second one. When you have something like that, this is the second one, how you can do that. And there's another way that you can also do this by just saying that from model. So maybe within your model, you have a lot of content within that your model. So you don't want to import everything. Okay. So you only need certain aspects of it. So you can say from model import objects. So maybe you want to import one aspect of it. Okay. Or you can say from model import object as. So in case maybe what we are importing is long, you can say import object as this. And then you can also say from model import first object, second object, third object. Means that you have a lot of objects within. So you can just import all the three, maybe what you want. And then you can also do from model import star. But with this star, what it does is it imports every content that you have within that file. And it's not advisable to do this. Why? Because already, whatever that we are doing, we want to manage memory. So if you do this, you are going to use a lot of memory, and that can let your program become big because you're importing unnecessary file that you don't need. So your program will become heavy, a small code, but you can see the file size is very big. Okay, and then sometimes if you are running it on a machine that is not fast, it really slow down the whole process. So it's advisable not to do this. Okay, so it's advisable not to do, but you can do it when you are learning. If you are doing a serious program where you are going to use for a project or something, don't import all because you might not need everything. So you can only import what you need. You just import the functions that you need in your program. Okay. So we call this one model. Okay. I believe it's clear.
Yes.
Okay. So let's look at example. So I have an example here. So let's see this test. Did I do test me? Okay, my scripts. No, I think circle. Okay, so I think I have not done the example here. But what I could see is that what I we needed to do is that we can have a simple mode a function. Okay, like we can create a function for operation. So if I'm going to create a function for operation, what are some of the things that might go into it? So the model name is operation. So my model name, like the way you see the bank name, the model name will be operation. So inside the operation, then I'm going to do operation. When I say operation, I believe what comes in is multiplication, subtraction, addition. So you create a different functions. So one function can be for addition, another function for multiplication and division and stuff. So when you create all these ones, that gives you, and then you save the file like dot what py. So that means that you save your file. So if now I'll come here and then I want to use that model name, I will just say import model operation. Then when I import the model operation, then I need to use the model operation name to call for different functions, but you can see that it will be long. So I can just say that from, or maybe model operation, maybe I can also use from. I can say from model operation import what directly. I want to import everything, so I don't want to use the object name again. So now I can say import addition, import multiplication, import subtraction. In that case, I've done that one by one. So when I come down here, I can just call individual and use. So let's do example. Let me do a simple example here to get understanding. So here I'm calling this one operation. So this is operations dot py. Okay, so that here is my file. So I'm going to create one function here, and then the function name will be addition. So I will do add, and then what I can add is maybe a b. Okay, and then I'll come down here and return a b, means that maybe a plus b. Okay, I hope it's clear.
Yeah,
And I have
please, the return.
oh, sorry. Thank you. Okay, thank you very much. So now I have another one, and then this one will be, let's say, multiplication. Okay, so multi, and then I will come here and then give what I want to do. So maybe A is to B, and then I'll create this one here. Okay, also return A times B. Okay, so in that will give me the next one. So the next one will be another one, which will be subtraction. So sub, okay, and then I have what it will do. So maybe A B. Okay, so in that case, it's also going to be the same thing. So return, what are we returning? That is A minus B. Okay, so this is what we are returning. And the last one that I will write is division. So I will say there, and then I'll put in A and B. So in this case, I'll still have, but then here something came in. Do you think, can we just divide? What do we need to do when it comes to division? Anyone can help us? You already know that when division has its own way because of certain conditions. So what do we think that we need to first consider when it comes to division? Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, what do we need to consider when it comes to division? So we can have if clause. Let's say you can say that if let's say B, because of course B is going to be if B is not equal to 0. I believe you understand. If B is not equal to 0, then we can now write our function for that, and then we can say return A divided by B. Okay. Else we can return something. Else we can return a string by say what do you think we should write there? Cannot divide by what?
0.
Yes. Cool. So this is a simple function that we've just written. So now you can see that these are the function that we have. So now if I want to use this one, of course I can just come here and do import. Okay. So now I can import everything from here. So if I want to use this, I can say from I mostly prefer this one. So from operation. So it depends on what you might prefer. From operation, import. So now I can get access directly to add, import, add. Then I have mods. Okay. Then I have sub, which is subtraction, because they are short, so I don't need to say as anything there, because these are short. Sub and then dev. Okay, so just importing data, you can see that I've imported. So if I say add, and then I just place in the value, let's say 5 and let's say 10, you will see that it will give me the value. You can see there 15. If I say subtract and I say sub, like what I just gave here, sub, and then I put in the value here, which is let's say 10 and then 5, which of course is going to subtract. So you will see that 5. Let's look at dev. So in dev, that is definition, divide, and then I will put in, let's say 0 and then 2 or 1. You will see that it will still, because when anytime you divide 0 by any number, it's still 0. I believe you know that. Now let's change the order, and then we place 1 and then 0. In that case, we expect it to throw an error toward that cannot divide by 0. So this is basically what I'm talking about, like having a model and then how to import a model. So tomorrow we will move on to another one, which is also very crucial we need to understand. Okay, so now we know what the model simply is. So now we have to look at packaging. So how do we use a package? Okay, so we can create a package name. A package can contain different modules, and so a package is big. Okay, so if you are working on a big project, you might need a package where you can have a different modules within that package, and then you run the whole program. So now that you've gotten the understanding of this, I want you to try work on the work I gave you. Try to do that, and even if you can want to apply a model or whatever inside. It's up to you. But then what else you will do, I just want you to just practice what we've just done. You can create your own kind of functions like what I just did, or can be variable and try to access the variable and see if you're able to access it as like what I just did. Okay, you try severally, you will see that the understanding will come. Then you can now tomorrow when we meet and we are going to add a package to it, it will not be anything new to you because the package is still the same thing that we are going to do, but now we are going to have a whole container that can house the whole model. Okay. So if you have any question, you can. If you have any question for.
No, please.
I hope it's not.
Oh no, no.
Okay. Okay. So please you end here, try your best, and then go through that. I don't start a package, no, because I'm just a few. So what I've given you is enough. Just go over there, try your hands on them. So tomorrow we can build upon where you got into. Okay. So thank you very much. See you tomorrow. Bye bye.
Thank you too.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.